So I talk about two species of Caulerpa. First, Caulerpa taxifolia, but there is a second species of Caulerpa now invading all Mediterranean Sea. It's a variety of Caulerpa racemosa. So we see it this after. So the first story I shall show you is a story of Caulerpa taxifolia, which began in Mediterranean Sea in 1984. This is Caulerpa taxifolia. I want to show this photo because it is one of the algae the most incredible we can understand. All what you see is only one cell. We say it is cenocytic. So when there is no segmentation in all the part of this algae. So the nucleus, the plastid, the mitochondrial can go from the top to the down, and the plant can reach 3 meter long. Secondly, it creeps from one part and it dies from the other part. So the name Caulerpa means colos is axis, erpa means in Latin it creeps. So it is axis which creep. Taxifolia because the front seems like taxus, which is in the gymnosperm plant. So this is a very strange algae, and it can grow more than 1 centimeter a day. So it creeps and definitively on the sand, rocks, and other. It was first cultivated in aquariums in Northern Europe since the end of 1960. We have found very old magazine of aquariologists which gives photo of Caulerpa taxifolia, and the people say this was a marvelous plant for aquarium, but also it can survive at very low temperature. It was very exceptional. But the most important data we have is from this aquarium, Wilhelmina aquarium from Stuttgart, where you can see now the same plant that they put in the aquarium since the year of 1960. And then it was introduced, first in Monaco, just in front of the aquarium. I don't know whether that is false, in 1984. Then in Japan, in front of another aquarium, 1992. Then in San Diego and Los Angeles, we don't know from where exactly. But also there is from an extension of the geographic data from in Sydney and Adelaide, but perhaps this natural invading. So this is the situation of Caulerpa taxifolia. In red, all the tropical strains in red. See, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian Ocean, we found this everywhere, but it is a very rare species, very difficult to find. Secondly, the native of the strain which is invaded is the Bay of Brisbane, just above Sydney, which is a temperate bay. And after the invasion, first in Mediterranean Sea, then in Los Angeles and San Diego, and also in Nojetima, where it dies very quickly because in winter temperature of this part is very low, so it died very quickly after 1 year. But after, sometimes also we have see invasion of Sydney, Melbourne, and Adelaide, which this Caulerpa was never seen before. The same as the Caulerpa coming from Brisbane Bay. So genetics data have shown that clearly that the aquarium strain of taxifolia from Stuttgart, from Monaco aquarium, is the same as Mediterranean strain, California strain, Japan strain, very close to the natural population of the temperate Moreton Bay, Brisbane. As you see here, some sample of Caulerpa taxifolia from tropical sea. It is not the strain that we see in Mediterranean Sea. It's a very little one, very rare. I have dived more than 3 months in Polynesia. I found only one sample, this one. In Saudi Arabia and Red Sea also, very rare, and very little France. In Mediterranean Sea, in very shallow water, the fronds are not so long, but deep, between 8 to 15 meters, the frond can reach 70 centimeters long, as you see here. The survival with water temperature is that it can survive some weeks between 6 and 10 degrees C, 3 months at 10, here it survives, it doesn't grow, and from 15 to 31.5 exactly, it grows. The temperature in Mediterranean Sea in winter is not lower than 12. So this temperate Caulerpa strain can survive and can grow in Mediterranean Sea. If we take a tropical Caulerpa taxifolia, we put it in Mediterranean Sea, it dies under 20 degrees. So clearly the strain of Caulerpa invading Mediterranean Sea comes from Brisbane, the very special strain, resistant to low temperatures. The most important to know when we have an invasion of a Caulerpa species coming from other part is to know if it reproduces sexually or not. The sexual reproduction of the Caulerpa, all the species of Caulerpa, there are perhaps more than 100 species of Caulerpa or varieties, is like this. And also this is perhaps the organism in the world, the Caulerpa, the order of Caulerpa, which have the most astonishing reproduction, sexual reproduction. Because all the nucleus of the plant, I say all the nucleus of the plant, transforms in gametes. So a nucleus takes a chloroplast, mitochondrial, and form a membrane, and then it transforms in gamete. And when the gamete go out early in the morning, it's only the membrane of the plant, which is white, and there is nothing in it. So all the nucleus transform in gamete. Here, the theoretical is that the male is the same shape as the female, but the female have a red eye spot with the chloroplast. They go in the same, and then they form a zygote, which can floating in the open sea more than 1 month, and then it sink, and it becomes benthic, and it becomes a new plant. This is the cycle of all the Caulerpa and all the Caulerpale, Eudotea, Animeda, other genus. But when we have found in August, because it's only 1 of 2 days in the year that we produce, and not all the talus. So when we have surveyed this in the summer, in the first summer we found the Caulerpa taxifolia, and you can see it 1 day, and they release the gametes early in the morning when the sun rises. So we must be there when it happens. So we have found only male gamete, only male. So what we know is that there is no sexual reproduction. So when we know this, we have hope to control the invasion, because it can reproduce only by cuttings, vegetative reproduction. Because if it reproduces by gamete, 1 plant can give 1 million of zygote eggs going in the current and settled, and dissemination is very, very fast. So for that reason, we have tried, in the beginning, we have asked the authorities to try global eradication. But there was a very big fight between some scientists of the Museum of Monaco. It doesn't recognize that it comes from Monaco. They say it comes from Red Sea, it is a natural species in Mediterranean Sea, and so on. And so the authorities have 2 scientific advice, and we must speak 1 year, 2 years, and after it was finished. We cannot control it. Well, we shall speak about it tomorrow. The vegetative reproduction, it is by cuttings. Look at this. This is 1 millimeter cutting of a blade, and after some weeks, we have all the rhizoids with nucleus in it, and it grows, it gives a new Caulerpa. So all little cuttings can give a new plant. So the dissemination is by progression of the stolons, the colony. So the stolon can grow 1 meter, 2 meter a year, so it can creep. You shall see other slide about this. By natural dispersion of cuttings, and also by artificial dissemination, boats encouraging fishing nets. We shall see this. This is a growing of the Caulerpa, very fast, 1 frond every 2 days, 2-3 centimeters of stolon a day in summertime. So it creeps very, very fast. Cuttings. The cuttings, natural dissemination with storms, so many cuttings are in the sea, settled and grow again. Most of them, 90% of the cuttings, sinks and so spread over 20 meters. But some of cuttings can more than 175 meters. But anchorage of boat can bring up some cuttings. It can survive more than 2 days without sunny, so in the anchor box, and when you put it again in the sea, it grows again. And also the anchor of the fisher nets, a very important factor of dissemination. You see, after a storm, all the fisher nets are full with Caulerpa. The fish net cannot fish, because the fish see the fish nets. That is a very problem for the fishermen. After studying the biology, we have made the map of the dissemination in the Mediterranean Sea. And for this mapping, tomorrow I can say it, we have many help from the public. We made many brochures from public awareness, and we get many information that we controlled, and so we have made maps of the dissemination of the Caulerpa. That is situation 8 years ago. You see the main invasion is near Monaco. Monaco is here. So from Italy to Toulon, and after it is too cold, 1 settlement here. Balearic Islands, not Corsica, Sardinia, Elba, and some point in Sicily here. Tunisia, Croatia, and recently a spot in Turkey, and other point in Sicilia. This is a map, so as you can see, all these little spots were given by fishermen, diver peoples, and we have verified, and we give us date, and we have seen the progression of the Caulerpa along the coast. That is near Nice, near Monaco, near Toulon, the progression of the Caulerpa. We've mapped every time where it comes. The linear of the coast creeps very fast until 201 and 204. I say you after what happens. Also the number of isolated colonies, that is very little settlements, and that is very big settlements, increase in the years between 94 and 2004. Now also we show all the kind of substrate can able to be invaded. All kind of substrates can be invaded. I show you. First on the dead mat of Posidonia. It looks very nice when there is not many Caulerpa. On sand or mud. This is on the rocky with all the algae. And after a few years, you see this. All is covered with Caulerpa taxifolia. So all the algae, the vertebrate, fixated animals, all is disturbed by this population of Caulerpa taxifolia. Other photo, you see when we go deeper, the fronts are very large, very long. It creep on sponges. It kills the sponges. C'est la même chose. On Gorgonian. It can grow also on sand. You see here the first settlement is here, and then it creeps from this first settlement. And this over 1 month, for one little piece, we have this. Then we have this, and then you have this. And you see the octopus, he don't understand what happens. He cannot become green. So all the fishes, all the fishes see him from very far away, and he don't understand what happens. So he must change his strategy. He must only fight in the night, I think. It can grow also on Posidonia beds, and in the beginning we were very afraid that this Caulerpa eliminates this major seagrass ecosystem of Mediterranean Sea. But the cycle of Caulerpa and Posidonia are not the same, so that when the Caulerpa is very low in winter, the taxifolia grow very fast. And so the Posidonia have no problem with taxifolia. But when you see the next image, you are afraid. You think that it is the end of Posidonia, but not. Have never have a problem with Posidonia. You see, that is in the end of September when the Caulerpa is the highest and the Posidonia the lowest. You see? You see here an ocean of taxifolia creeping on the seagrass beds. The socio-economic impacts are not very well known. There are impact on density of fishes, that many research on it. Impact of file in the net, very easy to see. And tourists also, some spots of for diver were completely invaded, and we see no more fishes on it, so no more interest to go in these hotspots of divers. But financially, it was not easy to know how many impact the problem is. Also, in the Caulerpa taxifolia, there are high levels of caulerpenine. Caulerpenine is a toxic substance, terpene, which is repellent. So the fishes, when they taste it, they don't like it. They don't touch this kind of algae. So the other algae are disappeared, so they cannot eat other things, so they go away. And some studies are made on some most known fishes of Mediterranean Sea. Here you have the progression of the Caulerpa. There was no Caulerpa when they beginning the study of the fish density. So no Caulerpa, and then the Caulerpa grows. September very high, in the end of the winter, spring very low. That is every year. September, spring, end of spring, voilà. And you see that the Caulerpa grow in this spot, and the fish density go very down in report with problem of the taxifolia. This is another fish, the same. Also high difference of density of fish between spring and autumn. But here the Caulerpa, and here the fish density which go down. Also with this, we have also tested the sea urchin with Caulerpa taxifolia. We made an experience very simple. We take sea urchins in aquarium with natural algae from Mediterranean Sea. We feed it with this. Other aquarium, sea urchin with taxifolia, and other aquarium with nothing. With nothing, the sea urchins die over 3 months. Nothing to eat, they die over 3 months. With taxifolia, they begin to eat a little, and then they don't touch it, because not tasty. And so after 3 months, they die. So this kind of plant is not a plant to be fed by fishes, by sea urchins, by benthic organisms. One of the major problems is the fisher nets. Some fishermen have asked the French authorities money to wash the fish nets. So they put the fish nets in big boxes with water, with chlorine, to kill all the pieces of Caulerpa. We cannot take it with a hand, too much. And when you put a fish net with so much Caulerpa in it, it doesn't fish. The fish can see the fish nets. So that was a very big problem for the fishermen. Also for the tourism, that is a newspaper from Balearic Islands. They say that Caulerpa just arrived, and they say, yes, we have noises, we have such problems, and now we have the alga. Legal acts against the spread of Caulerpa. I know that some people, Isabel, shall speak about legal acts. We have also a little concentrate all the acts we know about after the Caulerpa problem. Here in Catalonia, in France, Valencia, and Balearic Islands are decree of acts against Caulerpa taxifolia. But there are many other legal institutions we have worked on it. The Convention on Biological Diversity also have an act against introduced species. The law on the Sea Convention, you can also find something against introduction of aliens, and also the Berne Convention for Europe, also a problem against introduction of exotic species. And also the Protocol of Barcelona, Convention for the Mediterranean country, gives many indications against alien species. Conclusion about Caulerpa taxifolia. The invasion started in 1984, but since 2004, unexpected and unexplainable strong reduction was noted. Now, in Mediterranean Sea, in all the spots, from the northern part to the southern part, 90% of the Caulerpa taxifolia disappear. And it is not linked with the temperature. Also in Australia, between Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne, where it was an expansion which we never see before, it have also regressed. So it is not a local problem, not a temperature problem, but perhaps the action of the sunspots, and perhaps there are cycles of 11, 15 years when the Caulerpa explodes, then slow down, and then explodes. Last year, this year, we have seen a new recolonization of some spots in Mediterranean Sea. So perhaps there's a new cycle of invasion. We have also studied the bibliography of the invasion of Caulerpa. There are many very ancient problems with Caulerpa. In Mediterranean Sea, we had the problem of Caulerpa prolifera, which is a Caulerpa coming from Atlantic oceans more million years ago. And there was noticed in the year of 1920, 1926, an invasion of Caulerpa prolifera in some parts of Mediterranean Sea, and then it made a strong regression. So perhaps some species of Caulerpa, there is something that we don't understand, which give cycles in the development of this plant. But what is important to know that if we cannot see the Caulerpa, there are still in the substrate the rhizoid, and the rhizoid are very, very thin, like hairs. You cannot see it, and when the condition becomes better, it comes back at the same place. That we have seen with Caulerpa prolifera, and now we see it with Caulerpa taxifolia. The total eradication was not possible since 1992 because when we see it, we have made many discussions, and then it was too late. There were too many spots. But there are control techniques available, and that can slow down evasion. My friend Alain Barcelot shall show you what they do in the National Park of Porquerolles about this, and like this. Other one, the biological control with tropical slugs is a hope. We shall show you also tomorrow what happens with this kind of technique. What is very important, very, very important, is information of the population, because it can slow down the anthropic dissemination by anchor, by fishnet or trolls. And people can also say to the scientists, I see the algae at this point, etc. So it is very, very important to make large information to the public. And also we must banish the algae from this kind of algae from the aquarium trade. Second problem, Caulerpa racemosa. We don't know exactly where it was introduced. Research people found it in 1990 in front of the harbor of Tripoli, Libya, but also in Sicilia, and just after in Greece. So we don't know exactly where. We don't know exactly how. But now we know that this little algae came from the region of Perth, southern Australia, also temperate sea. So we have not boats coming from Perth. There's not so many harbors there. We don't know exactly how it comes. It can survive less than 10 degrees Celsius. So it is more strongly resistant to temperatures than Caulerpa taxifolia. So it grows very easily in Mediterranean Sea. Sexual reproduction. The first question we must have when we see a Caulerpa invasion is to know if there is sexual reproduction or not. You see here a very interesting photo of the front of Caulerpa racemosa, different from the natural one, in brown, with papilla. This brown color is the color of the female gamete. There is a little eye spot, a red eye spot, and all the gamete female have a red eye spot. So that early in the morning, just after to take this photo, all the gamete go out with this little papillae. And then all the thallus become white, like this. This is a gamete, and you see here the female gamete only. You see here the red eye spot, 5 micrometer long, very little one. This is a male probably. Dissemination. So progression by the colony, the same as with Caulerpa taxifolia, according to the deep, the substrate, and the season. By propagule, you have spoke about propagule in your talk, but for the phycologist, propagule is something very special. I shall show you. It is not all the things. It is something very special. By natural dispersion of cutting, by dissemination of zygote, we have seen reproduction, sexual reproduction, by artificial dissemination, both anchorage fishing. All this is a dissemination. And we found that for the first time, it can disseminate by propagule. Propagule is this. This little ramuli of the frond can naturally broke. They settle on the, and then you have a new thallus. But when you do it artificially, it doesn't go. So it is genetic, it is in the Caulerpa genetic to disseminate with this method. And this is exactly what we know, what we say a propagule. It is a kind of vegetative reproduction which is in the genetic of the plant. This is a propagule, you see, which can give, after a few weeks, a new plant. So these little balls, 1 millimeter, can go very far and can disperse the plant very easily from place to place. So if you understand that is a situation some 10 years ago, Caulerpa racemosa explodes in all Mediterranean countries. There are other kind of Caulerpa coming probably, we don't know exactly, from the Red Sea, but not so invading. It is other varieties, but the racemosa problem now, it is in Algeria, in Morocco, in Spain, and I say it is also in Canary Islands, and you say me perhaps in Madeira. We must look about this because it's a very, very great invader. And every year, it extends more and more dense in all the part of Mediterranean Sea, in National Park of Porcro, in Corsica, and all the most beautiful spots of Mediterranean Sea. I think that the invasion of these two Caulerpa is for Mediterranean Sea the most important changement of the benthic ecosystem of the littoral. We've never seen so strong invasion, some modification of the substrate, modification of all the things. Most important, more important than all the pollution of Mediterranean Sea. It is very fast, it appears very fast, and it is not only, now it is only the beginning of this story. So this is from our country. We see it first in Marseille, then it comes very fast in all points. And this is some image of Caulerpa racemosa. Same as taxifolia, it covers all the things, but the fronts are not so high. But if you see, there is many stolons creeping on the substrate. And in some parts, we have counted in some season more than 1 kilometer of stolon per square meter. This is a pull. This is all is covered. All is covered. So there is no more oxygen in the soil. It is very the density of the racemosa. You cannot see the front, but it is on the substrate, which is covered with this, with anoxic material under the Caulerpa. For that reason, it changed all the things. Conclusion about racemosa. The invasion of Mediterranean begins probably in 1990, and the expansion is regular since then. Regular and go faster and faster. I can say you can find between 0 meter and more than 50 meter deep, on all kind of substrate, all kind of substrates. Total eradication is not possible since the beginning, because there is a where there is sexual reproduction, you cannot fight against, because one plant in one summer can give 1 million of zygotes, 1 million. And all these zygotes go in the currents, and there is not only one plant which reproduces, many, many. There is no technique to eradicate this. Biological control is also a hope. We shall speak about it tomorrow. And information to slow down the anthropic dissemination is also interesting, but not so interesting that for Caulerpa taxifolia, because you can do nothing against the sexual reproduction. Banished algae from the aquarium are also important, but now it is too late to do something for Mediterranean Sea. Thank you very much. And I show you also at the end a book of all the story, Killer Algae.